Have you noticed something strange? The more people you save, the more invisible you become. You show up for everyone. You solve their problems, carry their emotions, fix what they broke. But when you're the one drowning, no one even notices you're underwater. That's not a flaw in your character, it's a power imbalance. The more you fix, the more they expect it. And the more you disappear into the role, the more they forget you're a person too. This is not an accident, it's a conditioning. And today, I'll show you why the ones who fix everyone never fix themselves. They call you strong, they call you dependable. They say, I don't know what I'd do without you. But deep down, you feel it. They don't wonder what you need. They just wonder when you'll show up. No matter how much you give, how far you bend, how often you rearrange your life to hold theirs together, nothing changes. They keep breaking. They keep calling. They keep leaning on the one person who never asks for anything back. And it's not because your help lacked value. It's because to them, your help became furniture. Something expected. Something that doesn't need gratitude because it never runs out. People don't remember the hand that catches them every time. They just stop being afraid of falling. And when you finally speak from a place of need, that's when they go quiet. You think you're finally being honest, even vulnerable, but what they feel is confusion, almost betrayal, because the fixer isn't supposed to need fixing. The moment you ask for something back, you've broken the contract they didn't know they'd written. Carl Jung called this the persona, the mask we build to survive a role, until the mask starts wearing us. He warned that the things we repress in ourselves, we end up performing for others. When you fix everyone around you, you're often tending to the very wounds you refuse to look at in yourself. And if your identity says, I am the one who holds things together, then your own collapse has nowhere to go. You didn't mean to disappear into that role, but you did. You were trained to earn love through usefulness, to prove your worth through solutions, to make yourself indispensable so no one could leave. So you answered every call. You showed up at every crisis. You gave advice, gave money, gave your Sunday afternoons, gave your silence when you wanted to scream. And every time, they took it like it was owed. Because that's what fixing becomes when it's never questioned. A performance of love designed to earn safety from people who were never asked to give it back. Ask yourself this: has fixing everyone ever made someone show up for you the way you show up for them? Or did it just prove you'd always be there, so they never had to learn how to hold themselves? The truth is brutal. People don't remember your sacrifice. They absorb your availability. And if your identity is built on being needed, they will always need you, because your usefulness is the only leash they know how to hold. Real strength doesn't overfunction. It doesn't rescue everyone. It doesn't earn its place at the table. It has presence without performance. It holds its own weight before carrying anyone else's. It dares to let someone else struggle without stepping in to save them. This is the cost of being the fixer. You will be leaned on by those who've never had to learn how to stand. And the more you prop them up, the weaker they become, and the more invisible you become underneath them. Because they're not grateful for your strength. They're relying on it. And your need to be needed only confirms to them that they never have to grow. So the question becomes, do you want to be indispensable, or do you want to be free? Because the moment you stop fixing, stop rescuing, stop absorbing the consequences of choices that were never yours to carry, something changes. You feel the shift, they feel the gap. Your absence begins to reveal the weight your help was quietly carrying for them. Because now, you're no longer holding the structure up. You're no longer playing the role they built around your silence. You've stepped off the foundation, and without you under it, the whole thing has to hold its own weight for the first time. In the next part, we'll explore what happens when the fixer stops fixing. Why your withdrawal feels like abandonment to people who built their whole stability on your exhaustion. And how your absence forces them to face what they always outsource to you. There is a kind of stillness that isn't neglect, it's repair, a kind of stepping back that doesn't feel like giving up. but reclaiming. And once you taste it, once you truly learn to stop catching everyone who falls, everything changes. Because your stillness doesn't just create space, it reveals who could actually stand and who was only ever leaning. It separates the people who respect your limits from the people who resent them. And those who depended on your exhaustion suddenly have to face their own legs. At first, they won't notice. They'll assume you'll snap back into place like you always have. They'll wait for the message, the fix, the rescue that always used to come. But underneath their surface confidence, something begins to crack. Because this time, you didn't over-explain. You didn't apologize for having limits. You didn't perform guilt to soften the boundary. You simply stopped absorbing, without drama, without a speech, and that is what unsettles them the most. Carl Jung spoke of individuation, the long return to the self, buried under everyone else's expectations. To become whole, Jung wrote, is to stop living as an extension of other people's needs. That's what you're doing now. Not abandoning, not punishing, but returning to yourself. And in doing so, you've broken the rhythm they built their whole stability on. They were used to your availability, to your reflex to solve, your readiness to absorb the fallout of choices you never made. You were their safety net, their emergency contact, their emotional accountant. And now that the net is gone, they have no choice but to feel the fall they always assumed you'd catch. Their own avoidance, their own fear, their own refusal to change, but most of all, their dependence they never named. Your stillness is not abandonment. It is correction. It is the refusal to keep absorbing consequences that were never assigned to you by anyone who ever asked if it was too heavy. It's not cruel. It's overdue. It tells the truth they never let you say out loud. I am not your safety net. And that safety, the one they never once thanked you for, is now gone. No late-night rescue, no unpaid favor, no silent sacrifice, just a boundary. And in that boundary, your energy becomes louder than every solution you ever gave them. Because now, they have to hold the weight they once handed you without asking. Watch what happens. They test the limit. A small crisis, a guilt trip, a favor dressed up as an emergency, a breadcrumb designed to pull the old fixer back into position. Not because they've changed, but because they hate carrying their own weight. Because in your stillness, the arrangement collapses. And the version of you they used to lean on no longer holds them up. This isn't about punishing them. It's about returning to yourself. You no longer fix because you no longer need to be needed. You no longer rescue because you no longer owe anyone your exhaustion. In exchange for belonging, you've moved from overfunctioning to presence, from performance to boundaries. And now, your limits speak in a way your help never could. They won't say it, but they'll feel it. Something they assumed was permanent has been taken back. Something they never earned but always used. But it's not there anymore because you've reclaimed it. Not through resentment, but through restraint. You've stopped proving your worth through usefulness, and that is what finally makes them see the person they were leaning on. In the next section, we'll go deeper into the nature of self-worth. You'll learn why real value doesn't need to be earned through rescue, how true strength is felt in restraint, not in constant motion, and why those who try to prove their worth by fixing everyone lose themselves the moment they stop. You've spent too long trying to earn your place, solving problems that weren't yours, absorbing feelings that were never handed to you fairly, softening every hard edge so no one else had to. But here's the truth no one ever taught you. The moment you fix to earn love, you lose yourself completely. Because real self-worth is not performed, it's held. It's not something you prove through usefulness. It's something you carry quietly, without needing anyone to confirm it. You've been conditioned to think that fixing everyone is love, that being needed earns you a place, that the more you carry, the more valuable you become. But the opposite is true. Every time you fix a problem that was never yours to solve, you reinforce the belief that your worth depends on your usefulness to someone else. And that's a losing game. Worth is never earned through rescue. It is remembered. You don't need to prove you deserve rest. You take it. You don't announce your limits. You hold them. You don't chase approval through solving everyone's chaos. You become someone whose presence doesn't require an emergency to matter. It's not about how much you carry. It's about how much you've stopped needing to. And that, real, quiet, unearned worth, is impossible to fake. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And he was right, except your why can't be everyone else's survival. The stronger you become, the less you rescue. The moment you feel the urge to fix someone who never asked you to grow, it's a signal that you're still trying to be indispensable, still trying to matter through motion. But the one who truly holds their worth doesn't need to be needed. They only need to be at peace with themselves. That's the difference between those who fix and those who simply are, those who earn love through labor, and those whose presence needs no justification. You've seen it. People who show up with nothing to prove, and yet everyone feels steadier around them. They don't rescue, they root. Not because they're detached, but because they know their own weight first. And they don't hand that over to hold up someone else's. This is your shift. You don't fix to be valuable. You become valuable by being whole. You don't solve to be loved. You let people meet their own consequences. You don't carry to belong. You set your weight down. Every crisis you don't run toward becomes clarity. Every boundary you hold becomes self-respect. Every rescue you decline becomes room for someone else to grow. And none of it requires burning yourself down. People will try to test this new frame. They'll call you selfish, cold, different. That's what happens when someone who was once endlessly available becomes someone with limits. But don't cave. Don't apologize. Don't explain your healing to people who benefited from your exhaustion. Let them sit in the discomfort of holding their own life. Let them interpret your boundaries however they want, because what they feel is your worth, finally protected. You are not who you were, and that is the threat. They don't miss the old you. They miss the free labor they had access to. But now, there's nothing left to lean on without consent, because now, your energy is yours, one that can be given but never taken again. You've moved beyond earning your place, beyond proving your value through exhaustion, and the irony, the less you fix, the more solid your presence becomes. They feel it when you don't rush in. They rethink everything when you let the silence hold. And in that space, that necessary, uncomfortable space, they finally begin to realize you were never obligated. They needed your rescue. You needed your peace. In the next section, we'll watch what happens when the people you used to fix are finally left facing themselves. You'll see how they scramble to reassemble what you used to hold. Not because you said something, but because you finally stopped doing something. At first, your boundary won't alarm them. They'll assume it's a phase, a bad week, a temporary distance before you go back to catching everything. One more crisis where you'll surely show up like always. They don't understand yet that this time is different, that you're not stepping back, you're stepping into yourself. And that distinction will hit them harder than any argument ever could. In the beginning, they stay confident, still sure you'll return to position. But as the days pass and the rescue doesn't come, something shifts, not in you, in them. That shift is subtle at first, small problems piling up unresolved, an old habit of reaching for you, then stopping, remembering you're not answering the way you used to, but you're not there to catch it. And that's when it begins, the scramble hidden under composure. Their unmanaged weight grows heavier by the week. Because what they once dismissed as your obligation, your patience, your constant availability, your endless capacity is now gone. And gone with it is their ability to avoid their own life. This absence, it isn't neglect, it's information, with consequence, with clarity, with finality. Because now they're not just facing a delay, they're facing themselves without a buffer. And most people have never had to do that. Robert Greene said it best, absence increases respect and honor. But more than that, absence forces people to build in their mind the strength they never noticed in real life. They start to remember the version of you they took for granted. They imagine effort where before they assumed obligation, they feel your weight for the first time, precisely because it's no longer propping them up. You're not rescuing, you're not softening it, you're not stepping in. And this unsettles them. Because in the old pattern, you were the one who absorbed the chaos. You were the one who solved it, smoothed it, made it disappear before anyone had to sit with it. But now the chaos stays. And in that unmanaged mess, they finally have to cope. They may pretend it's fine, they may joke about it, minimize it, act as if nothing's changed, but underneath, they're noticing, constantly. Because what they're missing isn't you exactly. It's the ease you use to provide for free. The reassurance that someone else would always carry the hard part. And the longer you hold your boundary, the more your presence transforms in their memory. You stop being the one who fixed everything. You become the one who finally stopped. And that shift rewrites how they see you. They begin to try harder. Not necessarily with words, not at first. They'll test the edges. A small ask disguised as harmless, an old habit resurfacing. Not to respect the boundary, but to see if it's really there. Not because they've grown, but because your restraint threatens the comfort they built on your exhaustion. But here's what changes everything. You're no longer withholding help to teach them a lesson. You're no longer distant to prove a point. You're steady because you're finally whole. And that difference is everything. They feel it, the calm, the clarity, the finality. They realize they can no longer access the version of you that would carry what wasn't theirs to hand over, because that version isn't available anymore. And now they try, they adjust, they cope. But you don't rush in, not out of coldness, out of conviction, because this isn't punishment, it's balance restored. The pattern you used to live inside, the one where your peace was optional and their comfort was guaranteed, is now different, and they're learning to carry their own weight. You're not doing this to win. You're not trying to prove anything. You're simply no longer giving away energy you never got to keep. And when they feel the absence of your constant rescue, they finally understand how much you were quietly holding. That's what they're adjusting to now, not just your distance, but the version of you that always showed up, solved, absorbed, carried. But that version doesn't run on empty anymore. And in its place stands someone whole, someone who finally chose themselves, someone who no longer earns love through labor, because now they cope. In the final section, we close the loop. You'll learn why those who root themselves in their own worth never need to prove it again. Why your boundaries become your language, your peace becomes your law, and your life becomes the loudest proof of all. There comes a point where fixing collapses, where helping feels like disappearing, where rescuing feels like erasing yourself one favor at a time, and where even stillness begins to hold more weight than any solution ever could. You've reached that point. You've burned through the need to be indispensable. You've watched what happens when you stop absorbing everyone's chaos. You've felt the shift, and now there's nothing left to carry that isn't yours. From here on out, you lead by example. You communicate through boundaries, you teach through consistency, and you protect your peace through restraint. Because real worth doesn't perform to be valued. It doesn't rescue to be loved. It settles. Quietly, cleanly, intentionally. And in that settling, everything changes. The dynamic shifts, people adjust. Not because you asked them to, but because you stopped enabling them not to. You stopped absorbing. You stopped over-functioning. You simply became whole. And in becoming whole, you stopped being available to anything that requires you to disappear for someone else's comfort. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." You've made it conscious. You've seen the pattern, the conditioning, the quiet belief that your worth was measured in what you carried for others. and all it ever brought was more to carry. But now, you see the pattern clearly. You see where it started, not because it excuses anyone, but because it no longer controls you. Because clarity, once integrated, no longer needs to fix anything to matter. It simply holds. This is the new law. You don't earn your place through rescue. You don't absorb chaos from people who've never learned to sit with their own. You don't carry weight nobody consented to hand you fairly. You act, you root, you position yourself in alignment with your own capacity and let others learn to carry what was always theirs. Every boundary you hold without guilt becomes a signal to yourself that you've stepped out from underneath the noise. And the most beautiful part, you don't need them to understand it. You don't need to be thanked for it. Because once you anchor into your own worth, the need to be indispensable disappears. You start to live by a different rhythm, no longer reactive, no longer overfunctioning, no longer trying to earn a place that was always yours. Instead, you conserve, you protect, you become selective, not out of coldness, but out of self-respect. Because now you know your energy is finite. Your time is yours. Your peace is non-negotiable, and your presence is a gift, not an obligation. Some will say you've changed. Others will call you distant. But the truth is, you've simply stopped speaking a language that erased you. You've stopped giving what was never reciprocated. You've learned that worth doesn't need constant proof. It needs protection. And the ones who feel unsettled by your boundaries, they were never grateful for your help. They were relying on your exhaustion. But that exhaustion is gone. You've outgrown it, you've outlived it, you've replaced it with steadiness, with boundaries, with a calm that isn't distant. It's clean. You no longer absorb what isn't yours. You return it. You no longer earn love through labor. You let people meet the natural cost of their own choices. And in that clarity, you find a new language, one made of boundaries, one made of presence, one made of restraint so intentional it leaves room without collapse. Now when they lean, you notice. When they scramble, you let them. When they reach for the old version of you, they find someone whole instead. No guilt, no rescue, no apology, just steadiness. And in that steadiness, they finally meet their own capacity. Because your peace is no longer a resource, it's a home, a foundation, a boundary, and the life you build behind it, grounded, whole, finally yours, becomes the only proof you'll ever need to give again.